I came here just after uni, so I graduated uni, came here for the summer,
Okay.
with the intention of going back to work in public relations, then did what all teenagers do, or young adults, make an absolute mess of that, and so I ended up getting with a DJ and never going home. Home, I was born in London, but home to me was Stamford in Lincolnshire. Now, if you've never been there, it's very pretty, but it's a very tiny town.
So is that where you were born?
No, I was born in London.
Uh-huh.
My real father, he's passed away now, he actually was one of the founding members of what is the Notting Hill Carnival now.
Okay.
So my father's Jamaican descent and my mum's English. She was a Formula One model. She sat in John Player Cigarettes cars. That didn't quite work out. So what she did was she married the absolute antithesis of my real father and a nice stable man, and they moved to the east of England. I actually went to boarding school in the same town as my parents lived because they just wanted to get rid of me. So at 14, I moved down the road to boarding school in my own town. So.
Okay, well that was good. So you were privately educated.
Well, I was supposed to get a job at Nicky Beach as a hostess, but I couldn't drive. I didn't realise how far that was from here, where I used to live, all the way to there. So my friend and I, we came together. She was very spiritual, so we followed some white feathers and ended up in Havana Bar and met the hostess there, who got us a job dancing in this club here, which is now what people know as Mirage, but back in the day was Coyote Banús. So to give some context to that, I have got a dance degree, so that's what I did. So in university I used to dance for kind of God's Kitchen and all those ravey clubs, and so I came here with the intention of kind of working in the nightlife, but ended up back doing the same thing. Okay. So 3 nights a week.
So how long were you a dancer for?
Officially,
or are you still at it?
Well, depends when you catch me on a night out, but on and off until 2014-15. The reason I stopped being a dancer is because there's a lot of nightlife. I've got 2 children. I was getting to the point where my kids were at primary school age, and I just...
Okay, we got to get to that.
Oh,
we're still
there.
We're still having you on the dance floor, right? So, was that actually keeping you going? You could make a living out of it. You could live life, or was it struggle?
Actually, it was really good for a single person. It was really good money. We didn't really have to pay for anything else, so the wages were pretty good. We was on a contract, so we were getting about 1,500 euros a month, which wasn't bad back in the day. But all the perks of living here were free. Right. Well, I met a guy. I met the DJ in this club that I was working at, and we moved to Barcelona together. And when I was there, I wasn't a dancer. I was actually working in wealth management. So that was the first job I had working in finance. Nothing to do with what I studied, but
how did you land that job?
He was working for a company, and they knew somebody that needed a PA or an admin person. So they asked me if I could speak Spanish. So I said I could, with my GCSE Spanish. And I got there and I realised they all spoke Catalan. So I had to kind of do a whistle-stop Catalan training course by myself. But yeah, I was there for about 6 months, completely irresponsible, got pregnant, and back down we came.
You came back to Marbella?
Came back to Marbella.
And he was going to be DJing in Marbella? Yeah. Okay.
And I got pregnant again.
There's something you caught in the air.
Yeah. Exactly, and then I had my daughter. So they're 13 months apart.
And the father to the daughter, is he around? Or?
So it's the same guy, but...
it's the same guy?
Same guy.
Okay, right.
Just didn't work out, because when you meet people at night, they seem really fun. Yeah, and then when you have to deal with them in a day, not so much fun.
So you got 2 children, you're a single mother, and how are you managing?
I was working in the evening, so I was doing a mixture of bar work and dancing and hostessing jobs, mostly cash in hand. We were leading up to 2008, so it's all about to go. I was briefly working in recruitment as well. So again, there's only about really 3 jobs you can do here: real estate, finance or there was recruitment.
Sure.
2008 happened. Their biggest client was real estate. That all went down the toilet, along with, it wasn't a marriage, but along with my relationship. So I found myself on my own again with no job and a very, very expensive court case on my hands.
What was that about?
Let's just say his parents had a very different idea of what I might do with the children. So their family all lived here, even though they're British, and they thought that I was going to up sticks with their grandchildren back to my nice privileged life in the UK and leave Marbella behind. So they actually kidnapped my children for 6 months.
Okay.
And so I had to find a job, any job, in 2008. And I had absolutely zero interest in finance, but I did have a massive interest in getting my kids back, so we just faked it till we made it. And I got a job doing business development for a finance company here, and that was the start of a 10-year career.
And that made it happen, and you moved forward, and you got the kids back?
Got the kids back, met my husband, as is the husband now.
Okay.
And so I'm a broker for expats. So an expat moved to Spain. They are looking for solutions for their money. It's actually slightly more complex than that overall, because I started doing it internationally when most of my clients were in Saudi, Thailand, lots of places that expats move to. I enjoy the job because I enjoy people. I don't like the spreadsheets, I don't like the mathsy side of it and so on, but I excelled in it because I really like people and making connections with people that are able to trust you with their money is fundamental.
Sure.
And it's a very masculine job. And especially on Costa del Crime, everyone comes here, they're all salespeople, and I found myself in this company where it was all like toxic masculinity. And I think because I've been in like a nightlife environment where I always had to deal with men, that I got on really well. But it did get to the point where I kind of outgrew it, ish. So I found myself in this situation in 2018, 19, where I was kind of sucked in now because I'd climbed my way up. I'd got the money, I'd got the 6-figure salary, I'd got everything I wanted, and I was like, God, someone kill me, I hate this job, but my kids are only 10, 11, I've kind of got to keep doing this for the next 8 years. So I kind of basically walked out of it and burnt all my bridges and then thought, shit, what am I going to do now? And I kind of tried to recreate the job that I want in this industry in a different way. But I do find that quite difficult because I'm from a background where I do like to be creative. I like dancing, I like going out, I like drinking, but that is not always compatible with what somebody thinks a wealth manager is supposed to be, someone that knows about taxes and things like that. And I think fundamentally you can be both. You can be really, really smart and know boring stuff about estate planning, but people do judge you a little bit on how you are as a person, how you might come across when you're not in that office environment. So I mean, luckily, I'm really trying to change it.
So you were working for a company, and then you left them all.
I left. I literally told them I was going to lunch and never came back.
Okay, that's interesting. So what are you doing now?
So I'm contracted to another company. So I essentially work for myself.
Okay.
Under the umbrella of their compliance.
Okay.
Something that...
But you haven't got a background in finance, have you?
Nope.
And you basically are a financial advisor in a sense.
Correct. I am qualified in financial advice, but it's something I learned along the way.
Okay, but you are qualified at that?
Correct. But they're qualifications that I learned on the job.
Okay, and how do you find your clients? I mean, that's not easy, is it?
So I basically thirst trap my clients.
You do the what?
I thirst trap my clients.
Okay, how does that work?
So, as a woman, I've got a bit of advantage.
Sure.
My client demographic are older men. with money that like younger ladies.
Okay.
So although I'm married, I do go to places that are social and, meet people and put myself in these situations. So socially engineer myself to be in places where...
How would he actually trust her with his money? I mean,
well, we do quite a lot of philanthropic things. So when I say that, I mean, we are in Marbella. It's a place where there's a lot of socializing going on.
Sure.
And the two very much mix. It's a very kind of closed environment for the people that do have a lot of the wealth. So you really have to insert yourself in the right way. So, for example, we do sponsor quite a lot of charities. That's something I'm fortunate to be able to do because I've grown my level of wealth to be able to help people. But we do it in a fun way. So whereas my male counterparts might be doing seminars and speeches and dry things like that, we will do galas and cocktail evenings and things like that. So we're going there and we've got our branding and we might do a little talk and things like that, but we're then in the social element after that. So we're then going and talking.
Okay, I'll follow that. So you're basically going in there as fundraising.
To a degree.
But that still doesn't get you to get the guy to come and say, okay, fine, I've helped your charity by 5,000 euros, but I actually happen to have 5 million, which is sitting in Jersey, and I don't really know what to do with it. I mean, how do you get to that?
I mean, it's all about networking and self-branding. A lot of the companies, what they'll do is they'll go out with and they'll lead magnet online, and people will cold call them and things like that.
But would you then pass them up the line, or would you be the front person with it?
No, when I generate my clients, I am the front person. I'm the front person.
I do find that very interesting because I think there is a major switch from being the sexy girl looking at the sugar daddy, switching over into being a consultant.
Exactly,
for financial stuff.
and a lot of people underestimate that. But actually, it's a secret kind of source that works, because once they get talking to you and they realise that you're actually very smart. But I don't just network in person. I personal brand on Facebook, I personal brand on lots of platforms, and it's a real know-like trust factor with people.
Okay.
So I think there's kind of a lot of secrecy sometimes around people that are dealing with money. You want to know who is actually looking after your money.
Yeah.
And so again, it's a fine line between giving too much information and not giving enough. But in my local community, I like to get into the community, so people see me on Facebook or they see me in a cafe and I get to know me, and it's a know-like trust I'm constantly building all the time with people. So by the time we get to an event and they're like, oh, I know her, and there I am standing doing the talk about something absolutely boring but looking very pretty.
Okay, but
that's when it starts
you've got
to come
the link.
together.
You sometimes find that you get the ones whose finances is a bit
tricky.
Yes. Are you shy? Do you shy away from that, or do you not worry about it?
To be honest, it's such a complicated setup here in Spain for somebody that doesn't speak Spanish. That'd be very easy for somebody that's very legitimate to have sticky finances. So it's not something that I would tackle on my own. I build a network of other people, professional people, lawyers, accountants, that will come in and help them to unravel it and make sure that they're setting themselves up the right way after. But I don't think it's something that people need to shy away from.
Right, so you're not just a pretty face then after all that?
Not just a pretty, not even a pretty face, some would say.
And what is for future?
Well, I've been hoping to early retire for the last 10 years, but I mean, kids kind of get in the way of that. So, my first job role was wanting to get a sugar daddy. That failed, so I had to get an actual job. Now that I have got an actual job, I'm hoping to build, my passive income to a degree that I can take my foot off the brakes of actually going out and kind of finding clients. What I'm moving my business towards is actually mentoring other women to be financial advisors, because there's not many of us.
It would be a very interesting guideline for lots of young ladies who are sitting at home and wondering what to do.
It's the future.